Guys, we have another member of the Big Gun Gang. So far, we have a water gun, an artillery cannon, a mortar, and a big freaking crossbow. This new addition will be the railgun, wielded by Melanite. She might be overshadowed by Mumu and Snack Mummy, so this video will shed some light onto her and see what sort of destruction Melanite could bring. I know if you're pulling for the Lone Trail banner, you probably have at least Pot 2 or Pot 3 Melanite, or even Pot 6. So this video will help you appreciate more our beloved purple snake that Red Juice himself has bestowed upon us. Melanite is a 5-star heavy shooter sniper. There are not many operators in this archetype, and the last heavy shooter we got was Pozemka, which was back in January 2023. Man, that was a long time ago. This archetype has a small attack range in comparison to other snipers, but they deal massive point-blank damage. This damage also comes with a cost of long attack interval of 1.6 seconds, and it's for this reason that most heavy shooter snipers are commonly used to kill elite enemies and sometimes bosses. After doing a few test runs with Melanite, it seems that she excels at killing a crowd of light to medium-sized enemies. Melanite's talent, Calibrating Parameters, amplifies her skill damage after activating a skill once. Subsequent skill activation will deal increased damage by 16% at Pot 6. This talent obviously improves Melanite's DPS, but the effects are subtle unless you try really hard to do the math. Lastly, one thing I'm not too sure about is whether or not this talent resets when you redeploy Melanite. I assume that it does, but when I tried to do the math to confirm this, I could not come to an answer because I don't know how this buff fits in the damage calculation. So please let me know in the comments if this is true. The first skill, Saturated Pulse, is a straightforward attack buff with increased attack interval by 0.8 seconds. However, skill 1 has a really long downtime of 40 seconds at most, and due to this long downtime, it takes a little longer to trigger Melanite's talent. The attack interval is unbearably slow, which led to my initial thought on this skill being nothing more than unimpressed. But after using it in several more stages, the damage is good enough to take down high defense enemies. Still, I don't use skill 1 in most situations unless this stage really works against Melanite's favor. Alright, before we move on to the second skill, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video so far. Thank you! The second skill, Critical Burst, shows the power of Melanite's railgun. Skill 2 allows Melanite to fire an armor-piercing shot that deals 500% over attack only to enemies within the 1x4 grid in front of her. Obviously, compared to the railgun we have built in real life, it won't penetrate 10 layers of concrete walls, but it's still powerful enough to penetrate through 10 bodies of Terra inhabitants. The damage drops off quite rapidly as the distance increases up to less than half the initial multiplier. Additionally, skill 2 can store up to a maximum of 2 charges, allowing you to fire it in quick succession, which in turn triggers Melanite's talent much faster than skill 1. With the right setup, skill 2 can kill most types of enemies except for bosses. I mean, you can still kill early game bosses like Skull Shatterer, but it would probably take you 10,000 years to do the same on late game bosses because Melanite is not built for this purpose. I enjoy using skill 2 a lot more because of this significantly quicker cycle time with a downtime of just 15 seconds at M3 or 30 seconds if you're waiting for 2 charges. However, skill 2 does have a fair share of its limitations, the obvious one being its rather small 1x4 range that requires you to be more strategic on positioning Melanite. In addition to that, you will most likely need another operator to act as a blocker to fully utilize the AoE properties of this skill. I don't mind this added layer of complexity because it keeps me concentrated and makes clearing stages more involved. For mastery, skill 2 seems to have better mastery benefits, which includes a significant increase on her attack multiplier and reduced SP costs. Unlike other skills that can hold multiple charges, Melanite's skill 2 only holds a maximum of 2 charges, which is kind of a bummer and the only thing that holds back this skill. Even Pinecone, who is a 4-star, can hold 3 charges at M3. What the hell, Hypergriff? Melanite's module called Fragrance Earrings increases her attack to 105% to enemies directly in front of her and ignores physical dodge. Dodge is a niche mechanic and it's very annoying, so having an operator that can counter it is really helpful. At higher levels, the module improves Melanite's stats and the damage multiplier from her talent. It's not a game-changing module, but it turns Melanite into a really good specialized operator to deal with Seaborns and Drunk Durins. So, should you build Melanite? Yes, but it depends on your needs. Melanite is the type of operator that I like to call the slow burn type. She needs a lot of investments, especially in her masteries, to have a significant impact on your team. On top of that, her module is the one thing that brings Melanite some value thanks to the attack buff and the dodge ignore. This does make her kit somewhat content dependent, but when you do need it, she can perform within her niche really well as a dodge counter AoE heavy shooter. The most fun I had using Melanite is in SSS, because obviously you can stack attack and attack speed to make her a very destructive railgun. On the other hand, if you don't plan on using Melanite, I suggest that you promote her to E2 to enjoy her E2 art, because it looks amazing. Anyway, what do you think of Melanite? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!